I looked at the guy, the dealer, and I was like, here's your tip.
Welcome to the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you'll never lose, where the stakes are high, the takes are bold, and the conversations are always full of chips. With your hosts, Chris, the Dice Degen, and Craig from Old Bay Craps. You're tuned in to Full of Chips, the podcast where we dive into our own experiences into the world of gambling and share stories straight from the casino floor. Whether you're a recreational gambler, a seasoned pro, or just curious what the buzz is all about, you're in the right place. Each week, we break down the games, talk to the experts, and bring you tips that could tilt the odds in your favor. So grab your lucky charm, stack your chips, and let's roll into today's episode.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 54 of the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you will never lose, with your hosts, Chris the Dice Degen and Craig from Old Bay Craps. Craig, how are we today?
Just want to say, we're on 54, and we hope that we can nail the interview that we want to for 55, because I think it'll be really awesome.
I think so too.
And look, we haven't forgotten that there's a lost episode of FOC out there in the universe, and it'll happen. We just have to get it done first.
Yeah, we do. We'll get it done. But how are we doing tonight, Craig?
We're fucking exhausted, dude. We are fucking exhausted. What is up with you, man? How are you doing? Nobody asks how Degen's doing. How's Degen doing?
Degen is doing. I have to be fully transparent here. I may not make it through this episode and may not make it to the top 5. I have concocted something in this glass today that is beyond dangerous.
It's funny you should say that, because I'm coming into this recording with a beer at 5 o'clock, 2 glasses of wine in the last 2 hours, and we're not done.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I mean, you're primed and ready, it seems like.
I might as well just say I've got the Elijah Craig again.
Okay. There you go.
With a little bit of Pepsi.
There you go. Well, it's funny you're on the Pepsi kick today, because I am as well. Of course.
I don't know how we do it.
In the full of chips glass. But Craig, I had an idea, right? So before we hopped on, wife and I are watching. I don't even know what we're watching. We're watching something. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what am I gonna drink tonight? What is DJ gonna drink tonight? And I gotta set the scene here. I've been like working and then like doing yard work all day. So needed a stiff beverage. And haven't really eaten today that much. So I was like hungry, thinking about what am I gonna drink? And I was like, you know what sounds really good right now? Like, I feel like eating a peanut butter and jelly. But then I thought, why not drink a peanut butter and jelly? So Craig, I have concocted Screwball.
There you go.
Peanut butter whiskey with
you told me about that peanut butter whiskey before.
0 sugar, wild cherry Pepsi.
0 sugar.
And I have it next to me because I will be continuing to pour throughout the episode. So if folks want to watch Degen get obliterated on camera, switch over to YouTube or Spotify, where you can watch the video version of this, because I will be pouring multiple of these throughout, because I have outdone myself.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, motherfucker. Right here. Booyah.
That's so good. The secret is a lot of Screwball and very little bit of the wild cherry Pepsi. But what's been going on in OBC's world?
I think you and I have copyrighted a little bit. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of Diet Coke.
Just a little bit.
I think we've cornered the market on a little bit.
I think so.
It's been 3 weeks of exhaustion. And I don't know how any other way to put it. We've had all the things done to the house. We've been painting to the point where I think we got high a few times on the paint fumes while we were finishing up a wall. Mrs. OBC and I are just fucking exhausted, and the house went live today. Okay.
Exciting.
So interestingly enough, I actually have a double what the fuck, if you will. You had the double FOC FOS award last week, right? I've got the double what the fuck. Okay.
I love it.
Warning.
The thoughts and comments in the next segment may trigger you. If you are triggered, seek help from someone who cares.
So I'm going to start with the more recent one, and then I'll backtrack to the original one that I came into the episode for. All right, because this just happened, by the way. All right, so the house goes live, right? We have 2 showings today. One at 8:30 in the morning, which is early as fuck, and one at 3:30. Okay. Both things are going to take me away from work. Now I said it before, I can do 90% of my job on my phone. I just can't move work around to the team. Right. So I told my boss up front, I'm going to be in and out of pocket all day, with the house. Morning one comes, I'm like, I'll just take the dog for a really long walk. Right. And that'll cover the first showing, which it did. Right. The second one, my wife's home by that time from work. We decide my daughter's home. We all went to Walgreens because we knew we had to pick up stuff because tomorrow's my daughter's 21st birthday. And I will get her to a casino at some point.
Happy birthday, Liv.
There you go. So we get there and I realize, shit, I left this up at the window because I had it up to block the sun in the early morning hours of work because we don't have blinds on the window behind me. So I was like, shit, I left this up. This can't be up when the people get there, And it was like 3:26 and the second showing was at 3:30. So I abandoned my wife and child at Walgreens and I rushed home because we're only minutes from, and I got here, put this away, had it all the way it's supposed to be, and then went back to my wife. And nobody had been here yet. I didn't see a realtor in the parking lot. And I think I actually passed her on the way out of the neighborhood back to Walgreens, right? I have a business call at 3:30. So I was like, I told my supervisor I would take the call probably in a car. So I took the call in the car. I'm done the call. Wife and daughter are done at Walgreens. We head back home. It's 4:32, okay? A complete hour later. Now, this was only a half-hour showing, right? So we get home. I go back to work because I still got like a half hour to 45 minutes worth of work before I call it a day. My wife, she's like, I've had it with this week. I'm going to grab a thing of Pringles and some Pepsi and go up to the bedroom with the dog and just doom scroll for a while, right? And my daughter was waiting for her boyfriend to come over. So later on, we hear the dog bark and we're like, well, it's probably her boyfriend. The dog always barks when somebody comes to the door and she loves to see him. And we're like, she's still barking. So then I hear, hello. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. When you have a house showing that's scheduled, right? The realtor comes in first and then the person comes in who's supposed to see the house.
Typically.
No, I go upstairs and it's a family of 4 adults and a small child. Open the door, poke their head through, and they're like, hello. I'm like, hello? Like, what? She's like,
What are you
well,
doing here?
we told them we were going to be late and we were going to be there at 4. I'm like, it's 4:32. She's like, yeah, I know, I'm really late. And I'm like, well, I think you ought to reschedule. And she decided to reschedule. So they're coming back Monday at 5 o'clock. But the fact that they just walk through the door, Chris, like, don't even care. Like, if you're late, you at least look for the realtor first because you've already talked to them, right?
Yeah.
And then you just wait to be taken into the house. No, this person got to the front porch, decided to jiggle the doorknob and thought, oh, it's unlocked. Let's just go in. That's not how this shit works, Chris.
No.
That is not
I'm
how
pretty sure,
open house.
I would need, if there are any realtors listening to the FOC podcast here, let us know. I'm pretty sure it's like illegal for them to come into your house without the real estate agent.
Like, what the fuck, man?
Well, that's a great what the fuck. I can tell you, if they tried that at my house, they would have been met with a barrel in the face, and they probably wouldn't buy the house because they would be scared shitless.
What's funny is they said they didn't come in fully because the dog was barking. They were afraid of the dog. I'm like, finally, the dog barked like it's supposed to when somebody comes through the door.
Unbelievable. That's insane. That is a very deserving what the fuck.
That may have led to the 2 glasses of wine afterwards.
I don't blame you. I mean, I can tell you, I'm already going on drink number 2 because drink number 1 is just about gone. So yeah,
and it doesn't end there, Chris. I have another what the fuck.
That's why I'm pouring up. Hit us with number 2.
So number 2 is, that we went to South Carolina last weekend to look at houses. Yep. And we found the one we want, right?
Yeah.
And I told you before, it was like, why don't we just do it in style? Like, we'll get the truck, we'll get the bed and breakfast, right? Do it up nice OBC style. Get down there, So as I always am, you're the same way. You're a preparer. You prepare before you plan, before you go to AC, right? we plan before we go on our trips. So I call Enterprise, who should get the FOC FOS award, to confirm, can I use my check card to pay for the rental? Because I wasn't getting anywhere online, right? They said, well, normally we have a policy where you can't use your check card, got to use a credit card. So when you come in, bring a copy of a utility bill and an insurance statement showing your address on both. I'm like, fine. So I printed out 2 pages, right? I go there, talk to the manager. I'm ready to get my truck, Chris. The manager says you can't use a check card, only credit cards for trucks. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I said, I called your office earlier and your guy told me I just had to bring in 2 pieces of paper with my address and you would all let me use my check card. I said, we're trying to sell a house. We don't want to use credit cards right now. So he's like, sorry, sir. You know, I can put you in an SUV. I'm like, fine, put me in an SUV. So he puts me in a Hyundai Tucson, which I'm like, that's no better than our Nissan Rogue that we have. Like, we could have just taken our Rogue to South Carolina. So we take this car. I didn't have my truck, Chris. I didn't get to have my truck, my F-150.
Yeah, that's
What
a
the
shame.
fuck, man? Now, I will
What
say,
the fuck is right?
I will say, I've told the people before, I've told you, Ed, some others, that I have some really bad arthritis in my hands, right? And that sometimes when I'm driving, I got to drop a hand because the pain's just throbbing, or my hand goes numb a lot. This car not only has cruise control, which normally when you have normal cruise control, you punch the number, you punch your speed, and then you're set. And then if you brake, normally in most cars, you have to like reset the cruise control.
Yeah.
This one has a setting where you can pick the car length, number of car length you want to be behind a car, and it slows down with the cruise control. And then when you go to a lane where there's no cars, it speeds back up to the speed you set. That was pretty cool, but that's not where it ends, Chris. Not only did it have that, it had auto drive. So I had the cruise control set to 81 and the auto drive, and that sucker keeps you right center lane, and all you got to do is keep at least one hand on it, but you feel the steering wheel move itself, you know? So I was like, that's cool. So, you know, at least they gave me auto drive as a compensation, but they didn't know that. I found that out. So they deserve the what the fuck, and they probably deserve an FOC FOS award, but we already gave out 2 last week. We can't overdo it, or we're not going to have enough awards to give out to other future FOS FOC winners.
Yeah, it can't be like Oprah. You can't you get an FOC FOS award. You get an FOC FOS award. Nah, it's a special award for special losers that deserve the award. But they're very close to deserving. That is a what the fuck. I mean, I guess there's a semi silver lining there, but you didn't get your truck.
Didn't get my truck.
Didn't get the truck.
I'm very disappointed.
Seems like we're gonna have to run it back so you can get your truck. But I will have to say, while you were in looking at houses, I was gallivanting around Atlantic City, and before anybody who's listening is like, Degen, why didn't you text me that you were in town? I was in town for like 15 hours and I had things to do. All right. I wasn't there to actually gamble. I was there for specific reasons, which were dinner with the wife, show with the wife, go home. Like that was literally the agenda. Right. So I swear Caesars knows that I'm only in town for like literally 15 hours. I swear they know it. Because what did I get upgraded to again, Craig? I got an even bigger suite this time than I did last time.
Bigger? You didn't tell me that. You told me you got upgraded to the suite, but wow.
I did tell you. I wanted to save it. I wanted to save it for the pod. I showed you the last one. This one was even bigger.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? So I got into AC at like 5:30. We had dinner reservations at like 7, right? Show over at Ocean at like 10, something like that. So like I had virtually no time to like play or anything, right? So that's why I didn't text anybody. So nobody get up in their feels that I didn't text you that I was there because I wasn't there, believe it or not. But anyway, got a great Sunday morning story, but I have to tell you about Saturday first.
There you go.
So we check in, right? We're getting ready. We go to dinner. And I have reservations at dinner for 7 o'clock or 7:30, something like that. I don't know. 7:30, something like that. Whatever. And I go down to, the check-in, and I'm like, I'm here. They're like, we're running behind. Like, how about you go to the bar and get like a drink or something? It's like, how far behind are we talking? Because like
Right.
I got a show to go to later. No, a little bit. All right, fine, whatever. So the wife's thinking, oh, like let's go over to the bar. And then we turn around and we see bubble craps machines next to the check-in. I'm like, well, twist my arm, why don't we? So I tell her, I was like, I'll put in some money and we'll just screw around a little bit, right? So crapless bubble craps.
I was going to ask you if it was crapless.
Well, so there was regular bubble craps, but there was like a bachelor party playing on like two different they had 3 kiosks. There was a bachelor party playing across 2 of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to go over there because I could hear them and they had no clue what was going on. And like, I didn't want to go over there. I didn't want to be bothered. I'm having dinner. All right. I don't want to be bothered. So the crapless bubble was open. So I go sit over there and I play. And I'm playing, I'm up a little bit. And then, I get a little greedy, go all the way in, PSO. I'm like, screw you, machine. So then I'm like, my dinner is still not ready. Like, I'm still not ready to be sat. So what am I supposed to do? So I put more money into the machine. And I'm playing some more. And I'm like up a little bit, down a little bit, doing whatever. And then I start another shooter. And when I play crapless, I always play the ATS on those things because like it's fun, right? And like you can play it for dollars.
Yeah.
So like my standard on crapless bubble, for anyone who cares, when I'm just dicking around, is like a $5 pass line, 2-1-2 on the ATS, and then I place bet and all that kind of stuff, right? So $5 pass line, 2-1-2 on the ATS, got my place bets out there. I get my text, your table's ready. I'm like, of course my table's ready. I'm playing a game with contract bets. So I'm like, you gotta wait. And like they can see me from the check-in desk. So I'm like, just give them that little like one minute thing, whatever, right? So sitting there and I'm playing. And next thing you know, I need the 2 and the 12 for the ATS, right? So I'm sitting there and like, you know me, I have undiagnosed like ADHD, ADD, whatever. Like I can't sit still.
All the high definition.
Yeah. The bubble's not keeping me engaged enough, so I'm sitting on my phone. And Victoria's like, we gotta go. And I'm like, just smack the button. So she smacks it. What comes out? Aces. Hits the small. I'm like, ooh, here we go. And then a few rolls later, 7 comes. But I ended up profiting like $100 on the
Nice.
even with the rebuy.
You paid for dinner.
Not where we went to dinner. I did not pay for dinner. I paid for my tip basically. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, the wife has nice taste. We went to Hell's Kitchen and I racked up a bill, let me tell you.
There you go. Yeah, but at least you got the sweet.
The sweet was nice. But so we go to the show and she's asking me, oh, do you want to play at Ocean? And I'm like, no, it was Ocean. I've never seen it this busy, Craig. It was so mobbed. And we got there like an hour before the show was supposed to start. And every table was packed, blackjack, craps, all of it. I was like, I want no part of this. So we were just walking around doing whatever. We went to see the show. I got back to Caesars at like 2:00 in the morning, I think. Went to bed, wake up the next morning. Now, Victoria's sleeping. I'm up like a crackhead at 6 a.m. because, who needs sleep, right? 4 hours is plenty.
Fuck sleep.
So I'm sitting on my phone playing some games or scrolling through social media, doing whatever I do. And then like at 7 o'clock, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go down to the tables. So I go down to the tables and I see a blackjack table. Open by myself, 3-2. I'm like, beautiful. Now, they did hit on a soft 17, which kind of sucks, but whatever. I'm playing. I'm down. The first 10 hands, I won 2. Wow. 2 of the first 10 hands I won.
Jesus.
It was brutal. Started making a little bit of a comeback, and then a guy sits down next to me. So him and I are chatting. He's from New York. I could tell quickly that he was from New York. And we're just chatting and whatever, and I'm playing, and I get dealt ace-3. So I have a soft 14, right? Dealer's got a 10 up. Guy next to me, I don't care what he has. I don't know. I think it was a 12 or something. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to the situation.
Yeah.
So dealer checks, no blackjack. I hit. I get a 7. So and dealer pulls a card and throws it on my hand. And I'm like, whoa. First of all, I stood and I was like, second of all, 21's like an auto stand. Why would I ever hit on that?
Right.
And she's like, you didn't have 21, you had 12. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Ace and a 3 is 14 plus 7 is 21. And find out the guy next to me. Yeah, I found out the guy next to me, he's an accountant. And he's like, whoa, what are we doing here? What are we doing? So it turns into a whole thing. Dealer pulled a 4 out of the deck, right? That was what the next card out of the shoe was. And we got a call over the floor. It turns into a whole thing. And the floor's asking me, why did I hit on 21? And I'm like, that's a great question. I would love to know. Why would I hit on 21? Like,
Right.
please explain to me why I would hit on 21. I was, I'm
I feel
good.
the Philly was about to come out.
The Philly comes out. Just wait. It gets better. So we get that situated, and it was a vibe killer for sure, right? I was just like, oh, here we go. Like, dealer can't do math, basically. And then to, slow the game down, because the guy next to me was hitting anyway. Just give him the 4.
Right.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, admit you made the mistake. Give him the 4. Let's move on. No, we got to make it a whole deal. Then, fine. Dealer change comes through. First hand, Craig, I kid you not. First hand, dealer comes out. I got dealt an 11. I had 6-5, right? Dealer has an ace up. What do I do? Normally, me being me and how I play, I just hit the cards, right? I just hit.
Right.
I had not doubled on a single 10 or 11 that entire session, and I did not get a single good card when I didn't double, so it looked genius.
Right.
And without even thinking, I grabbed chips to double, and I doubled on the 11, and I was like, fuck, I didn't want to do that. Pull a 10.
Nice.
I'm like, fuck, I did want to do that. Well, that's not even the thing. Dealer has an ace up, right? Has a 7 underneath. Soft 18.
Yeah.
Right?
They got to stop, right?
You would think they got to stop. Nah. Dealer pulls again for an ace for a 19. Me and the guy go ballistic. We're sitting here
soft hits on soft 17.
Yeah. Dude, Craig, I can't, me and this guy were going nuts. The dealer starts yelling at us that we're wrong. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I look over and I'm like, floor, come here now before something happens.
Yeah.
Like, floor, come over. Right? Now, once the floor came over, I was quiet. I kept my mouth shut. I let the floor handle the situation. Guy next to me, hell no. That guy was going in. And I'm just sitting there, sipping my coffee. I'm like, what's going to happen here? Dude, 15 minutes of the dealer trying to explain why he's right to the floor who's telling him he's wrong. So they fix it, right? They pay us out. So I got paid on my double. My question to the floor was, okay, now that ace should not have been pulled from the deck because the dealer should have stayed. That ace should be mine. Floor says, no, ace gets burned. I'm like, no, absolutely not.
But it's not
that
surprising.
Card should be mine.
It's not surprising.
It's not surprising, but that card should be mine. And they were like, well, if it was a 4, would you be requesting for it? And I'm like, first of all, I've been nothing but nice to you. So why are you catching an attitude with me? Second of all, I wouldn't have known what the card was. So yeah, I would have taken it. And they were like, well, now you know what the card is. So it becomes problematic. And I'm like, no, that's your dealer's fault that I know what the card is. Because your dealer pulled the card. Your dealer shouldn't have pulled. So now I'm jawing with the floor. Me and the floor going back and forth. The guy next to me is like, you know what? Fuck this. Color me up. And me and the floor still jawing. This guy is trying to color up this guy's chips. My God, it was like watching. It was horrible to watch. I'm watching that while I'm arguing with the floor. And I said to the floor, are you going to give me the ace or not? And they're like, no, it's a burn card. And I was like, well, burn this game then, color me up, and we're done. And the floor looks at me and goes, well, sir, that's your choice. I was like, you're right, it is my choice. And I will make that choice. I said, but next time, make sure your dealers know what the fuck they're doing before they come out on the floor. When I said that, now the dealer's getting pissed off at me because I'm telling him he doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
Craig's security came over.
God.
Me and this guy, Craig, are causing such a scene at this table. Now, normally I don't like to cause scenes like this, but if you're going to fuck me over like this, at least buy me dinner first.
Hey, you were standing your ground on the right call.
Craig, I was so pissed off. I cannot even tell you how pissed off I was. And it was just for the principle of the matter that I was going to fight for it. And believe it or not, that double that I made brought me ahead on the session.
There you go.
So I colored up. I was like, I'm getting out of here. And so we're about to leave, right? I'm about to leave the table. And you know me and tipping.
Yeah.
Usually pretty generous on the tips, right? This guy was not getting a tip. Now, the other lady who was dealing, even though she made the mistake, she owned up to it. she was still getting tipped, right? As I was playing my session, she was still getting tipped.
That's fair.
Mistakes are fine. We all make mistakes. I don't have a problem with it. As long as, it's not a big issue, whatever, fine, not a problem. You still getting tipped. I color up. I start heading towards the cashier cage, right? So, and for anyone who doesn't know Caesars Atlantic City, so all the tables are in like a quadrant, the blackjack tables. This is to the right of the escalator when you're coming down. That's the only area that's open in the morning. So I got to walk around and then go to the right to go to the cashier's cage. Well, as I'm walking to the cashier's cage, the dealer has the audacity to say the words to the pit boss. Go figure. Neither one of them tip, Greg.
Wrong thing.
Security was standing there. I looked at the guy, the dealer, and I was like, here's your tip. Learn how to deal blackjack. And I walked back to the cashier's cage.
That's
cashed
funny.
in, went back to the room.
That's funny because I think what you really wanted to say was go fuck yourself.
I did. But unfortunately, security was around. And not that I have a problem with that. Like, I'll say what I want to say when I want to say it. But I showed some discipline, I guess, in that moment.
Yeah, well, you did.
And
you kept your cool.
The funniest part of that whole thing was when I said, here's your tip. The guy who was playing with me, him and I were still chatting about the thing, and we walked off. And he goes, boom, roasted. I lost my shit. I started crying of laughter.
That's a good story.
So
what's funny is you're talking right into the topics today. That's amazing.
Right into the topic. I mean, it's almost like it was teed up for it.
Seriously. Just to let you know, you said tee it up, and I haven't really watched golf since like the Open. I haven't watched TV since the Open. That's how much I've been busy with the house, and
that's busy.
I'm a purveyor of movies and television, and I haven't watched anything. So I must have been busy, but that was a great story.
I wish it didn't happen, but it did. And I texted you immediately. I don't remember what I said. I think I was like, I have some shit for this episode because holy hell.
But I think the thing that you and I have talked about before is it didn't have to get to that level. It was the dealer and then just the situation itself that just started going south quick. And it was like, it didn't need to. Like, if he had done the same thing that she did, which was own up to it, it may have wound up being a burn card anyway. But it would have been like a calm thing. Like, I'm so sorry that happened. You're right. You got the 21. Let's pay it out. Blah, blah, blah. I can't use this card. I should have stopped on the 18, soft 18.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my hand. And then, he probably still would have burned the ace because everybody saw it. Because I've been to plenty of blackjack tables where they pull out the card by accident and they show everybody when they shouldn't be, It happens, and but it's the way it went down.
Yeah. I still would have been a little bit upset. Not upset, but like I wouldn't have been happy with the burn card anyway, just because like Craig, I played for like 35, 40 minutes at this point. I had not been dealt an ace the entire time. And like, I'm telling you, Craig, I was grinding this session. Like I was dealt a 20 off the rip, maybe twice.
Jeez.
Like I can't tell you how many times I was dealt 12, 13, and 14, and I'm having to pull cards. And I was grinding the entire session. So like I finally saw something. Now, was I going to get a 10 on top of the ace? Who the hell knows? I didn't stick around to find out, right? But like it was just a matter of how, like you said, how the situation went down and the fact that this whole thing went on for like 15 or 20 minutes and arguing. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Shame. I walked by the casino on the way out. And one of the pit bosses who I do know there was like, oh, I expected to see you down here today. I was like, I was down here earlier. I was like, you didn't hear about it? And he goes, hear about it? He goes, wait, that whole thing at the blackjack tip? I was like, that was me. And he was like, oh, I see why you're not down here now. I was like, yeah. He goes, are you coming back later? I was like, no, I'm going home. Crazy, Craig. Isn't it crazy how some dealer or some staff energy changes everything at the table?
Sometimes it could be everything. The dealer isn't just running the game, they're running the emotional climate. But yeah, I mean, it could become the whole table vibe can be just completely ruined by just one little incident.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember the book everybody gets read children's books, and everybody gets read Dr. Seuss. But I don't know if you remember the
Yeah.
book Because the Little Bug Went Kachoo, and how one little thing just made something just blow up immensely. It was just a chain reaction of everything being bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until something colossal happens. And that's what can happen with the dealer effect. The staff energy at the entire table, whether it's a craps table, blackjack table, it doesn't matter. They set the temperature. When you first come up to a table and before you even buy in, usually you're asking, how's the table been? And, you know, good dealers, they'll tell you the truth. Like, it's been pretty cold lately. I'd probably just start off. They'll even like give you some advice. Like I'd probably start off soft and work your way in with your bets because it's been PSO City. And you're like, thank you. Normally you'd probably start off giving them a tip.
Yeah.
Because they do set the temperature. And a sharp, upbeat dealer, can really turn the table into like a party. Like they can really jumpstart things, especially if they're kind of a jokey dealer. We lost one of those great dealers in AC this year, and
Yeah.
he was phenomenal. And I only remember him being a nighttime dealer, but when he came in, man, the jokes were flying left and right, and the table energy was always up. It was never down when he was dealing. And that's the temperature and the tone that they set. Their energy is everything. If their energy is down or if they're annoyed or bored, I mean, it turns into just slush. You're like, I don't even know why I'm here. When you buy in and it's just like, hi, and they take your money and they do their spread and their marker thing. It's like, oh, so this is the session I'm in for. I'm in for a shit time already and I haven't even made a bet.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's true. They control, like, they're like the vibe officer almost at the table, right? Like, yes,
Yeah.
people around the table can control the vibe, but like really it comes down to the dealers, right? Because like, yes, players can be having a ton of fun around the table, but if the dealers aren't lively and semi-excited, like typically brings down the vibe of players because people are like, what the hell's going on with this guy? Like, who pissed in his cornflakes this morning, right? Like, and when they have that good energy, it becomes almost contagious around the table, even if the table's not going great, right? Obviously, when a table is hot and like long rolls are happening, yeah, everybody's all lively and jovial and having a great time. But like, we expect that almost, right? Like, we want to see that energy even when the table's choppy.
No,
And like, I don't need you over the top with it, but like, I need to know you're not dying back there.
No, because when you make the table calm, that's when the bets are like people are safely pressing their bets. They're taking their shots. They're staying longer at the table. Maybe they're doing another buy-in, but I don't know. But when that dealer gets sloppy or distracted, it's like everyone tightens up their grip and on the rail, and they're like, I don't know if I should be making this bet. But
Yep.
have you experienced it where maybe the dealers seem to be that way, but it's really the spark of the table starts with the stick. If the stick person's not like on their game and maybe schmoozing a little and got that energy up, it could then bleed out into the dealers. And then the pit boss is usually one that's just, I've been to plenty of tables at Maryland Live where the pit boss is sitting down, they got their hands over the rail and they're just kind of like ho hum. And I'm like, oh, so the energy is kind of shit. But when you have when you go to your local enough, you start to know the rotation. And the rotation is they start at stick, they go to dealer, they come around to the other side and the other dealer. And then eventually, like maybe a couple of weeks later or a month later, you see that person's now a floor person or a pit boss. And the jokes that they were making when they were a stick, now they're still making as a pit boss. But then you get others who were maybe lively dealers at the time, and then they become part of the pit. And they're the pit boss, and now they're serious, and they totally lose the jokey part of the side that you loved when you came to the local.
Yep. Yeah, no, a good stick is super important. And like, a lot of people, and it's true, will say that, dealer is controlling, like the stick is controlling the rhythm of the table, right? And they basically are, like, they're the conductor of the orchestra pretty much. Yeah. And good stick makes for a great table, even on like again, even like I said, even if the table's not going too well, like good stick, joking, having fun is still semi-entertaining, right? Like, yeah, we all know we're losing money. It sucks, but like at least it's still semi-entertaining as opposed to like a stick who is just there to collect their paycheck and that's all they're there for. And it's like, what are we doing here? And I mean, we all know those sticks, right? Even, Harris and Atlantic City, there's times where like I wish I could go on break like they do when a certain stick comes on. Because I'm like, oh shit, here we go with the stick. Like, and we all, know who I'm talking about. The AC crew, they all know who I'm talking about. It's just like there's a couple of them too. It's not just one person. There's a handful of them that I'm like, for the love of God, can we just skip them on stick? Like,
Seriously.
if we could skip them on stick, that'd be phenomenal.
Because you're expecting them to be lively and you're expecting them to be, to set like a confidence effect to where if they're lively, then maybe we're lively. Maybe we're a little looser with betting, which is obviously what a casino wants you to be. We're not you might not see a person be as conservative in their rail when they're checking bets, even over to the prop section. And if you got a lively stick person, they're not just, obviously it's their job to get you to play the prop section, but they do it in a way that makes it like a friendly banter. And they do it in a way where like you want to make the hard way bet or you want to make the horn high. And it's not always based on, obviously, the more experienced we are, Chris, and the more years we play this game, we're reading the table, and the table's telling us to play the horn bet, not because the stick is all excited and shit. But you're right when you're talking about like we've been to Harris and we've seen those stick people who you're in for it because they're the ones that argue that you're too close to them at stick left one, and you're like, okay, but I technically can't raise my arm because I keep hitting your fucking stick because you're going like this back and forth with your stick. And I can't even see the goddamn diamond. Like I should be able to see the diamond and throw my dice without any interference from you. So take a step back, have a couple shut the fuck up and get out of my way. And I can't stand it when they're like, oh, you're too close. You're the ones that built this crap table that goes all the way to the C&E. You have a rail right here, which means I am allowed to have chips all the way up to this end where it stops. But you're bitching at me that I'm too close, that I should be more than a foot away. Okay, are you realizing that they build these tables to fit 16 people on them? And normally there's really no more than 8 typically? Yep. Now, Winfred Harris, and it's busy, you've got 12, right? You've got 12. But even with 12, technically you can fit as many as 16. So where are you going to put the space when you have another person wanting to come in? Oh, you refuse them. So you have people standing around behind you refusing to let them buy in because you don't want to deal with more than 12 people.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Fucking ridiculous.
It is. You made two points that I really liked. One was the looser betting. You know what that also equates to? Looser tipping.
Yeah.
So, like, if they're controlling a good vibe and they're getting the players to, like, bet a little bit more, it typically means that they're getting more tips. So, and you always hear, right, they're working for tips. So, if you're going to work for tips, like, let's do something to facilitate the tips.
Customer service.
Right? Like, exactly. Like, I'm sitting here and, like, even with my example, like, guy gave me a shit time. Why would I tip you? Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
The other thing, when you brought up the rocking stick, I also hate when the dealers or the stick has to lean over the table to look down at the dice. I don't have a problem with them doing that because I know that's their job. My problem is when they start before I even throw and they're looking down the end of the table. Like, you are encroaching over the table and then you wonder why I'm hitting you.
Right.
Right?
Especially with somebody like you versus me because you're 6 feet tall and you have a big wingspan. Like if you were to actually stretch your arm out, you could drop the dice at the 12 on the field on the other side. Facts.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not proud to say it. I've hit dealers in the face before, not on purpose. At least that's what we say. I'm kidding. No, I haven't hit them on purpose. But like, I have hit dealers from stick left one on the follow through because they're leaning over the table. And then they look at me like I'm the problem. I'm like, How am I the problem? You are leaning into stick left one to look over the table. Look down the middle of the table. Like, stay in your lane and look down the table. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And then they get an attitude with you, and then, we all know what happens, right? Sometimes you got to submit a claim or a complaint to the bosses at be for the stickman antics. But no, it's crazy when they act like that. And same thing with the dealers too, right? Like, we know, the stick is mainly controlling the game, but there's been plenty of dealers who have ruined a vibe at a table for us.
Oh yeah.
They catch an
100%.
attitude. Some of them don't shut the fuck up.
I hate that.
Stop
I can't
talking.
stand that.
Yeah, and I'm fine to talk if it's like a lull or something in the game, or like if I'm not shooting or whatever. But I don't need, and what gets me even more, Craig, is not even the dealer to player interaction. It's the two dealers talking about who gives a flying shit what they're talking about. They're talking like they're at a therapist session over here. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Save that shit for like the Maury show or some shit. I don't want to hear it.
I have been at the local Hollywood Perryville, where the stick was fighting with the dealer. They were arguing back and forth over nothing that had to do with the actual fucking game of craps. And I'm like, and I had the dice, and I turned to the stick and I said, "Do you mind? Can you stop talking while I'm throwing?" And he couldn't. And I was like, "I'll wait." I'm like, I'm the one that's got time. So what do you want to do about it? I can't stand that, man.
Yeah, it's like they think they're having their own show or something. Because we've seen it too. You get dealers and I know they're playing music like on the speaker system and stuff, and sometimes you hear the dealer hum it or whatever, and usually it doesn't bother me. But when you think that you're on a karaoke show and you start actually singing, yeah, it's gonna bother me, especially if you don't have a good voice, which I haven't met a dealer yet that's got a good voice for singing.
You also have when you're at no matter the position, when you're shooting, you also have that bit where the dealer is still arguing with a player over a bet that they don't know what the hell they're doing. And you're like, God, if you guys could just hold it for a second, let me throw the dice, then you can continue your argument.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it controls pace. And that's what I wanted the dealer effect to be. I want them to control the pace of the game and really be a non-factor in my throw, right?
Exactly.
Because they dictate the rhythm, and fast dealers create this incredible adrenaline that happens at the table. We all love it. Like I've always said, and I've said it a couple of times in some of the other episodes, I love it when the dealer is so precise, where they curl their hand around with your bet when they pay you. I'm like, that's professional. It's crisp, it's sharp. But when you get that slow dealer, especially we told you about the Ian and I told you about the table we were on for the private table of Craps for the Cure. At I don't even know where casino it was anymore. Might have been Palace Station. I don't know.
Wherever it was, don't matter.
Wherever it was. But the dealers, they gave us private table. They gave us brand new dealers. They didn't know what they were doing. There was so much arguing, not only between us and what we had. We're just doing the normal, hey, I had this up. This is what should have come out when the come out 7 came. Can you please give me the right change and put this back up? No, they had one dealer arguing with the other dealer, and then the stick person was finally like, stop, it's this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you just killed the vibe of my role. Then it becomes PSO City.
Yeah.
And you're like,
oh yeah.
Thanks for the shitty time when it could have been an amazing time had you kept the pace. But it's not just the pace that I like it when they do control it. It's that subtle power they have, because when other players think that they're running the table, it's awesome to have a dealer who's like, no, this is how it's done. You can wait. They put them in their place. Because if they don't put them in their place and we're in AC, we know that Clay will put them in their place for us.
Oh, Clay will put them in their place. Love it. Love it when he puts them in their place. Sometimes you got to put dealers in their place because,
yeah, because they fuck with table flow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jesus, here we go. I came here to have a good time. And now, the vibe's been kind of ruined. Maybe I should just go play blackjack.
Yeah, I mean, because, especially with the flow, right? The table's got a mood going on, right? And, all casino tables have a specific mood, let's say, but craps has like the most mood, I guess, or like the most social interaction and the most kind of like energy going on at it for the most part, right? Like, yes, you hear other tables cheer and whatever, but like the whole craps table is just a mood in of itself. And it could be a quiet mood, right? Just nobody's talking. Like, let's be honest, right? Most of our coffee runs are pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some chit chat with dealers, some chit chat with fellow players, but it's the morning. Sometimes it's the early morning. A lot of people don't want to talk, right? Or they're like, there's not a lot to say or whatever it may be. Now, obviously, sometimes it gets loud, but like, there's other times where the craps table is just like a party. I mean, you
But
would
that's what
think
I
you're at
want
a
in the
party.
coffee run. That's what I want in the coffee run, because the coffee run, we lose so much money in the coffee run typically. And I think if the
Yeah,
energy was just there and brought to the forefront by the dealers, it would create an incredible table flow.
sure,
But it doesn't.
would.
It's like as much as we're trying to wake up with our buy-in and our coffee and all, it's like the dealers are waking up. Like, come on, guys! Like, and I've been to a table where I said, "What's going on here? Somebody explain what's happening, because the table vibe here sucks."
Yeah,
Like, you're complaining, you're not really moving much. Players are chirping already. I'm like, we just started this session, but
yep.
table flow is important.
And that's a good point too, because like I think that happens a lot on the coffee run. I think it's just the time of the day, honestly. But I feel like that also happens a lot on like shift changes. Like when the new crew comes in, there's always like a drop in mood at the table.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because who's coming, right? We know, like when
Right.
the morning crew is leaving and the afternoon crew comes, like run, right? Because we don't like them. But I think it's also because like they're like they complain, like they're just dead, and like they kill the entire vibe of the table. Like you could have a good vibe at the table, and then another crew comes in, and you're like,
Well, they bring
like
they bring the graveyard shift with them. It's
yeah,
like,
they
come on,
suck all the
guys. Like,
momentum out of the table.
right? Like, you want the table flow to be vibing. You want it to
Yeah.
be upbeat. It puts you in a good mood. And you just bought in. You got your come out play going, got your bets made on the horn and the C&E, and you got the pass line going, and it's like you have a dealer who's already complaining. It's like, it's been 2 minutes. All you did was take
Yeah.
cash. Like, what is there to
Yeah.
be? What is there to be crappy mood about? Like, let's go.
Literally, though. Yeah, no, they're complaining like they have to work. Like, I get we all don't love our jobs at all times. Believe me,
Right.
I get it. Right? I fully understand. There's a reason I'm at the casino on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm off from work, but that's beside the point. But what's it called? No, like, there's no need to start causing problems. And yeah, I know sometimes they'll complain about like life or whatever. Fine. Like, we all can complain about life. I don't really hate that, but like, I don't need you to complain about like who's at the table and like how they're betting and like complaining about shit. You just got here. Stop it.
Right.
Stop it.
Exactly.
Like, you have a long 8 hours ahead of you if you're going to start complaining now.
No, I think that there's different like pillars of table flow. You've got the emotional synchronization, you've got pace and rhythm, you got confidence that can be contagious, right? And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
have the social harmony that we've talked about with before, about the brotherhood that's at the table. And we say brotherhood, but women are accepted. Believe us.
Sisterhood. It's a
Sisterhood, go for it.
Degen hood.
It's a
Degen
DJ.
hood.
We're all DJs at the table, and
Oh,
we're all
yes.
there for a purpose, and that's to win money from the casino. But those are the table flows that I think are the most common time, or the most common types. We all react together. We ride the same wave. Energy's up. It's aligning. Rolls are feeling like they're longer. We're feeling braver about our bet progressions, and the table just becomes like this single organism that's just, we're all chasing the money that we want to see those dust bunnies, right?
Yep.
But and that's just the emotional part. But if you break that, like one negative comment by the dealer, or one bet shamer, or a dice cop like you were alluding to last time, that's where the whole table just falls to shit. And now you've just killed the vibe.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but it's also deeply tied to, we just talked about pace. It's deeply tied to pace. Fast pace, adrenaline, excitement, bold betting, quick decisions, but slow pace, you have doubt, hesitation, you're overthinking things. You're now afraid to bet what you really came to do. And now you've lost your plan. Dealers can influence pace, but players can also influence pace. We've been at tables where they're just taking too fucking long to throw the dice. And you're like, Jesus Christ, just fuck. They're 2 dice. They do a couple of things once they hit the table and hit the back wall. Just fucking chuck them. And sometimes I feel like, Chris, I should just play that way. Like I just get to the table and like fuck dice setting for a little bit and just chuck them. Like, you know what? I'm losing my buy-in every day anyway. Here, let me just try to chuck them and see what happens. And then all of a sudden, it might be a long roll.
Probably will be. I'm losing my buy-in anyway. Oh my God.
I don't know. I think, but when the table starts getting, and the flow starts getting confident, now the confidence can spread. And that's pretty cool. It is. It's contagious. And fear spreads faster than anything, but confidence can spread too. And when one player is pressing bets and they got a little bit of swagger, and once that one player starts to panic and they're pulling their bets and they're now we've told people to turn their bets off when we see a situation, but we're doing it out of courtesy. We're not doing it out of panic. We're not like, oh my God, turn your bets off. He threw this, like blah, blah, blah. He's done this before. Just turn your bet. Like, we're not panicking, but we've told table to turn their bets off. Like, look, normally this is hitting these numbers. Today it's hitting these numbers. So it looks like it's not good for me. I don't want you all to, do anything rash. Just turn your bets off. I'm just going to chuck them.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's true. I mean, and like with the turning of the bets off, right? Like it's also not a thing of like I'm telling you what to do either. Like you said, right? It's just it's a vibe thing. We just feel it. We know, and it's like, turn it off because, right? We know the flow of the table is something we may have experienced before, or there's something we don't like. Maybe the flow's changing, the dynamic of the table's changing, whatever it may be. And it's like, you know what? Turn them off, give maybe a roll or two reset, and then, turn them back on, whatever. And, I always tell people, like, I'm going to turn them off. You do what you want. Like, I don't care what you do. It's not up to me. It's your money.
Yeah.
But I'm a firm believer and I'm following whatever the shooter's doing. Shooters turning their bets off. I'm turning mine off.
The thing is, like, that's what then creates that social harmony. And that's when people are celebrating each other's wins. No one's hijacking the vibe. No one's giving unsolicited coaching, and there's no ego battles at the table. There's no, I'm the character, this is my table energy. It's like, it's a good thing, but unfortunately, it's one of those only table games. Like, you don't get this at roulette. Let's be honest. You don't get this kind of shit at roulette. Okay. You don't get it at 3-card poker. You don't get this stuff at blackjack. You get it at the craps table. And that's when disharmony happens. And you get that one loud mouth dominating the table, thinking they're all that shit. And then you have that negative parasite at the table and you can't stand. And now everybody can't stand that person. It's like you got the etiquette cop, which you were talking about in last episode, that the person got on you. And, and then you have the one player who can't shut the fuck up because they think they're in a TED Talk. And it's like, dude, let's close our mouths. Let's listen with our ears and let's just roll and have a good time. But there's always somebody who wants to fuck it up. And you know what? They're the flow killers. They're the table villains. They are. They're the pace breakers, the vibe parasite. You were talking about the vibe earlier. They're the, they think they're the sheriff at the table when they're not. They're really just a chaos agent.
Yeah, they are. And with that too, like the flow and the dynamic and the energy can be like rolling one way for a certain amount of time. But when you get that loud player or that one person or like a controversial call or like a dealer, the table flow can shift on a dime. Like it might take a while to build up, but that can be destroyed in a second.
Well, you've talked before a lot about tilt and table tilting, and it's like when that tilt monster comes out from that flow killer, like that's usually a sign of like, check please, color me up. Like I'm ready. I'm
Yeah.
ready to. I'm not playing this session anymore. Like I'll go play blackjack for a while, and maybe I'll come back and see if it's a different vibe because you fucked the flow, and I'm done with it. But then on the opposite end, because I don't want to be all too negative, you have the table heroes, right?
Yeah.
You have the flow builders, people who build the flow as you're playing, and those are you can be quiet and confident. You can be the rhythm shooter. The rhythm shooter is awesome because they're just in a whole zone. They don't know how they're doing what they're doing, but they're doing it. And you're like, as long as you're reading the table, you're pressing your bets, you're making money. And now you got the dealers into it. The dealers have swagger. They're hyping up players. They're hyping up bets. They're probably hyping up the dealer bets that you put out. And those are those moments, Chris, where like the dealer bets, I've heard you all talk about it. I haven't been privy to a long heater when it's happened, but you've had dealer bets that start or get up to like 66 inside for the dealers, and they've gotten them up to like 110 for the dealers inside. And
Oh yeah.
that's when it's really incredible because now you have the dealers hyping the players, which just makes the game like so fun because
Yeah, it does.
you're going to have roars left and right because things are just flowing, things are happening. People are hitting those bets that really shouldn't be hitting, but they're hitting anyway that night. And it's just you're exactly what we always talk about, which is craps is the loudest table in the casino.
Yeah. And we all strive to be on that loud table because hopefully the loud table, I mean, you should be making money on said loud table, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, and I'm not trying to play on words, but flow matters, right?
Flow does matter.
It matters more than strategy. Because it makes people stay longer on the table, which is what casinos want. Casinos don't want people just to buy in, play a few rolls, and then jet. And the brave people start to bet. Confident shooters feel really good and synchronize with the table, and then the entire session feels good. And that's what we want. That's our intent when we say, okay, I think I'm going to go to the casino tonight. That's what I'm looking for because flow is the difference between a heater that you talk about for years and a cold table that you escape from. And then we've talked about chaos that can just make you regret even going to the casino. But once you understand it, then you stop playing that stupid game of fucking with the flow and you start playing with really good energy. And, I say our sister podcast just because they feel like it. Casino Tears, like shout out to 10 Ton and Ed, but Bo talks about energy all the time.
Yeah.
I've never heard, and I got to talk to Bo a few times at multiple years of Craps for the Cure. And he has always talked about table energy. And when somebody fucks with the energy, that's when you turn your bets off. And more often than not, you save yourself your buy-in. You may not make a lot that night, but you save yourself a buy-in for another time. And
Yeah.
you and I have talked before about anytime you turn your bets off and you intend to turn them off for 2 rolls, the reason you do it is because not that first one, which might be a 6 or a box hit, but that second roll is always a 7.
It is. It is. No, energy is super important. And it's funny you brought up the 2-roll thing because I get people ask me all the time, like, why do you turn them off for 2? And I always have to explain to them, right? Yeah, the first one may be a box hit. I may have gotten paid. The second one, I would have lost all my bets. I made more money by turning off my bets than taking that hit and still losing because there I still would have lost money. By turning my bets off, I'm still either positive or I am more positive in the rack than I would have been if I would have left them on for those 2 rolls.
Sure. And, if you're going for the bonus and let's say aces comes and normally, in Bo's world, he turns his bets off for 2 rolls on aces and midnight. And people are like, well, we're trying to go for the ATS. Why would you turn your bets off? Because maybe we hit the 12 on the 3rd roll.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming. You don't know what's going to be rolled
No
next.
idea.
You can't predict it. But just from experience, that second roll was a 7.
It is a lot of the time. And that's like, people always say, oh, that little voice on your shoulder, or like the voice in your head. When it's telling you to turn your bets off, you should probably turn your bets off.
Do it. I cannot tell people more. Go with your gut. If your gut is telling you something, don't fuck around with it and hesitate. Because when you hesitate and you're like, that can't be real, that can't happen, that's when the 7 out comes.
Yep, 100%.
Because what do you care?
100%.
You turn your bets off. So you didn't win any money on one roll. Turn them back on.
Yeah.
Win on the next roll.
No
But
one's
it's
telling
like
you can't turn them back on.
But when you feel the vibe change and you feel something in your gut and it's telling you, you should probably turn your bets off. Trust us. Do it.
Listen to your gut. It's a good idea. Should be
Yeah.
the tip of the episode, Craig, maybe down the line.
Maybe.
If we haven't used it already.
But first, we have to get to one of our favorites.
We do. Is it time for the top 5?
It's time for the top 5.
Top 5 today is the top 5 times the pit crew or the dealers have let you down. Feel like we've been talking about this all episode, so it's just fitting that it ropes in our top 5. I think so. All right, Craig, what is number 5?
All right, number 5 for me is the pace killers. We talked a lot about pace and dealers who run the game like they're underwater, like slow hands, slow payouts, slow everything. They get the dice back to you slow. It's almost like they don't care. Nothing murders a heater faster than a dealer who thinks they're dealing in slow motion for dramatic effect.
Yes. That is very true. Great number 5. My number 5 is the bet rushers. So the ones who are standing there rushing how you're supposed to bet, what your bet should be. They're going maybe in order, maybe out of order, but you would think that they are trying to rush somewhere. They got something closing and they need to get there. Earth-shattering alert to them. Your shift doesn't end until after that store closes anyway. So me betting faster is not going to help you out.
Right? My God. All right. My number 4 is the vibe assassins. These are the dealers who walk up already annoyed with life, like no jokes, no energy, no rhythm, just pure I hate my job aura. Their mood spreads like mold and ruins the entire table.
Very, very true. Very, very true. All right, my number 4 is the inconsistent customer service givers. They give attention to specific people, ignore everybody else, could care less who you're at, who you are, where you are, if you're even at the table. They're patient with some, not patient with others. Doesn't matter if it's new player, regular, whatever it is. I've seen plenty of times where they're impatient with regulars just because of past dealings with them. Everyone deserves to be treated the same way. Now, if you do something or have done something to maybe affect that relationship, then that's different. But you can't be treating only certain people a certain way at the table. You have to give customer service to everybody.
100%. This next one, my number 3, goes out to the dealer you were talking about earlier. The one where you tilted your head. You're like, you know the dealer. The attention deficit crew. They're chatting, flirting, zoning out, doing everything except paying attention to the actual game. Missed payouts, wrong bets, sloppy calls. They turn your session into a trust exercise you didn't sign up for.
I wonder if you can guess why I'm laughing, Craig. My number 3 is the crew who can only focus on anything but the game they're dealing. You know who we're talking about. Same thing, right? They're worried about what's on the TV behind the table. What was the number that was just called? Like, not paying attention to anything that's going on, missing payouts, missing odds, missing bets. The conversations distracting them from everything. It just kills everything at the table. And then also, not only are you killing the vibe, now I have to question, are you paying me right? Did you get that bet? Then I have to turn into like a police officer and be like, making sure you do everything correctly now. I don't want to do that.
Can you take a breathalyzer before I make my next bet, please?
Literally.
So this one goes out to the one also dealer at AC who her name starts with a T. This is the power tripper. This is the dealers who enforce rules that don't exist. Dice cops, bet shamers, micro tyrants with a stick. They act like the table is their kingdom and you're lucky they let you breathe near the felt.
Oh, some shade. It's getting shady in here, Craig. I like it.
I'm getting salty, as Degen says.
Yeah, you are getting a little salty. My number 2 is the cocky, arrogant new dealer who has no clue what's going on, but they think they know everything. They attended one class, maybe a couple classes. They're an expert. Meanwhile, they're correcting somebody who's been playing for years, forgotten more about the game than they've learned thus far. Just being cocky and arrogant in general is bad, right? But if you're going to do that to players, at least make sure you're right. Shout out to my not so new friend at Harris. Or not Harris, Caesar, sorry.
All right. My number 1 is the momentum murderer. You're mid-heater, The table's electric, everyone's locked in, and the dealer decides now is the perfect time to change dice or call a break or start a long conversation with the box. They don't just kill momentum, they bury it. Like it's time for you to just color up.
Facts.
Facts.
All right, my number one. I don't think this is going to be a surprise to anyone who knows me. My number one is the dealer or the crew who let one toxic person control the entire result of the table. Shout out to Parks.
I was just going to say, shout out to your guy, Parks.
Shout
Oh
out
my
to
God.
Parks. If you haven't
guy
heard
was
that
such an
story,
asshole.
go listen to the episode. I talked about it before. I'm not going to go into it again, but
It's a fantastic story.
premise of the story is one guy affected the entire table.
It's one of my favorite stories in craps.
It's up there. So that's my favorite crap story. I think my favorite blackjack story might be the one from this past weekend. All right, great top 5, Craig. And that brings us into our tip of the episode. What is our tip of the episode?
Tip of the episode, bouncy or hard, learn to throw on both. Hard table, it exposes every flaw you pretend you don't have. Bouncy table, it turns your throw into a circus act if you can't adapt. If you only throw on one surface, you're not skilled, you're pampered. Real shooters adjust. Fake shooters complain. Master both and you stop talking, and then you step up, throw clean, and let the dice embarrass everyone else.
There you go. It's true. You got to learn how to shoot on both. Got to be able to adapt. I like that. I like that pampered line. It's very true.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I might consider myself semi-pampered. But I don't know if it's that I'm pampered or that I just prefer certain tables. I don't know. Is it that I'm being selective or I'm spoiled? That's a debate for another day, I think. But great tip of the episode. Great episode overall. Hopefully the folks at home enjoyed it. If you did, let us know. Drop a comment down below. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. If you need to reach us, FullofChipsPodcast, gmail.com, full-length episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, short-form content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. The Patreon is down below. If you want to hear yourself on one of these episodes, hop in the Patreon, let us know that you want to be on one of our episodes, and we will get you in said episode. Overall, Craig and I love you all, and Craig is going to take us out on this episode.
All right, that's it. If you still blame the table for your trash throw, that's on you. Hard, bouncy, doesn't matter. If you can't handle both, you're not a shooter, you're just a spectator. So take your excuses, your superstition, and your the felt betrayed me whiny nonsense and go practice. Real players adapt. This has been Full of Chips, where the dice don't care and neither do we. So see you next time, unless the table breaks you first.
And the